Hi guys, Jasmo here, and today I have for you a build guide for another extremely fast character. I just can't stop making very fast characters this league, and this one is specifically made for quickly running Heist. Heist is one of the best currency making strategies, but a lot of people don't like playing it because you need to open a lot of doors, you need to keep walking through it, and it seems very inefficient where you're getting stopped by the doors and by the monsters and you have to kill them and run out, and it's very annoying for some people. However, if you make a character that is optimized for that specific content, it can be extremely profitable. You can run contracts like, for example, the deception contracts, which are the most common that you should be running because you need coins and reveals for your blueprints. Those contracts can be actually run in under 1 minute if you have the right build. So I'm gonna go over everything. I'm gonna go over this character, and then in the end, I'm also gonna go over some heist things that you can do to make your character even faster in heist using the rogue items. So first of all, this character is a Toxic Rain character, and it's a raider. Raider is the most obvious choice for heist because of the permanent onslaught. One thing about heist is that you don't want your movement speed boost to be conditional. So you don't want to rely on frenzy charges that you're gonna have to stack. You don't want to rely on rampage that you're gonna have to stack. Although all of those things help, you don't want them to be the main investment, because as you're running heist, at first you're not gonna be killing many monsters, and ideally you don't want to be killing any monsters. You just kill stuff on the way to maybe refresh your quicksilver charges or something, and that's it. You really want to avoid having to kill monsters and having to stack your buffs. And anything that kills monsters, you kind of want to automate, right? So there are two choices that I was thinking about. I was thinking about some kind of a raider because it has onslaught with a bow, so that it has mirage archer, so I can just run and it attacks and I don't have to stop. Or another choice would be also Guardian, because Guardian can have minions that attack stuff and you don't have to stop. You can run, you can have phase run on a Guardian and you can just run as your minions are killing stuff, and you have permanent onslaught on Guardian as well. However, you don't have the onslaught effect and you don't have 100% uptime of phasing on the Guardian. So phasing was the thing that made the difference, as well as the proximity of movement speed nodes on the passive skill tree. So maybe let's go over the passive skill tree first, so that I can show you why I picked Raider and why are we in this side of the tree. So if we look at movement speed, okay, if we look at movement speed here, we've got a lot of options here. We've got graceful assault, we've got onslaught effect. So this increases the effect of my onslaught. That's again more movement speed. We've got freedom of movement for movement speed. We've got avatar of the hunt for movement speed. So that's something that helps us when we're using a bow. We've got movement speed as well as cooldown recovery for movement skills in here. We've got movement speed in here, and we've got also this nice slot for transcendent spirit that I'm gonna explain in a moment. And we've got also movement speed in here that helps if we're doing chaos damage. So there is an argument also for using Ice Shot with this build. I went with Toxic Rain because that's what I know best, but Ice Shot is probably another option that could be used, because Ice Shot gets cluster jewels that allow you to stack an additional extra movement speed, and you're going to be able to also freeze things around you, right? So Ice Shot is like another option that you could be using instead of Toxic Rain, but I think those two are the best. So speaking further about the passive skill tree, so we've got a few things here that increase our movement speed, and one of these things is this. So this gives me 24% increased movement speed, this location of Transcendent Spirit. This gives you movement speed for every like 10 dexterity. Like dexterity is translating into movement speed, right? Every, what is it, 10 dexterity gives you 3% movement speed or something like that. And that's why we're picking like this weird node, because if we're not picking it, we're actually losing 2% movement speed. So this node is 5% increased movement speed picking it, right? So we're picking all the decks around here just so that I can get this 24% increased movement speed. We're picking up movement speed here with the spell suppression, and our spell suppression is capped. We're actually at 100% spell suppression chance. What else do we have here for movement speed? This node, because it increases our chaos damage and movement speed. For movement speed, we've also got this. Other stuff that we're picking is basically just life, some damage. This is still only level 93 character. I could pick, for example, this entire wheel for attack speed and bow damage, and that would increase my damage incredibly. But the good thing about Heist is that you don't really need damage. This character, if I assume I'm firing 9 projectiles with this. This is 9 projectiles being fired, right? Sorry, 9 additional projectiles. So this is 10 projectiles. And I am assuming in my POB 4 projectiles overlap, which is very conservative. You can see there's like 6 projectiles overlapping here, but I'm only assuming 4 projectiles overlapping. And with 4 projectiles overlapping, this is like 3 million DPS. Very easily 3 million DPS. You could make some adjustments to the skill gems, like conk effect and stuff, and probably with the same gear you could get to like 5 million DPS with the exact same gear if you change your setup. But I don't care about single target because I'm heisting, so I want the coverage. I want Mirage Archer to spread it everywhere, slow everything and damage everything. What else about the passive skill tree? We're increasing the duration, which helps increase the duration of our phase run and Mirage Archer, so that is very, very helpful. We're picking up some evasion, spell suppression in here. What else are we picking up? We got Watcher's Eye with a movement speed while affected by Grace. You could also go for movement speed while affected by Grace and also Malevolence, damage over time while affected by Malevolence. This Watcher's Eye, I don't know, probably will cost like 10x or something, but I didn't bother investing into that because I don't care about my single target damage. But that's of course something else you can get. But we are affected by Grace, so that movement speed, 15% movement speed on this is huge. We're getting also here evasion as extra armor because we are scaling evasion due to the fact that we're using Queen of the Forest, so we need at least 45,000 evasion to get the maximum benefit from the movement speed on the Queen of the Forest. And then if I press all my flasks, I got also 19k armor, so like 50k evasion, 20k armor as we're running through the monsters. This is pretty tanky. Cap resistance, positive chaos res, spell suppression capped. If you also add 3 points in here, you're gonna be ailment capped, and you're gonna be at 76 all res. So this node plus this node will give you ailment immunity, complete ailment immunity, and that's basically something that will come with levels because I'm still only level 93. And you could sacrifice, I don't know what you can sacrifice, a little bit of damage somewhere because you don't need the damage. You could sacrifice one of the clusters maybe. What do we have on these? We have corrupted blood immunity, attack speed, chaos damage, life, like very basic stuff. What else about the passive skill tree? We've got, of course, the charisma cluster because we're using 3 big auras. So we're using malevolence, determination, and grace. So only enlighten level 3, malevolence, grace, determination, classic combo. If we get enlighten level 4 instead of this portal here, I would probably put defiance banner or something and have even more armor and evasion. But yeah, that's when it comes to the passive skill tree. For the clusters, we're using Unwaveringly Evil, Wicked Pal, and then Unholy Grace if we want to pick that up. And for the medium ones, we're using Eye to Eye and Repeater, which is like the most damage that you can have on the cluster jewels. And that's how you scale the damage on this character. And for the passives, we're not picking up Frenzy Charges because we don't care about stacking things. I want things to be up all the time. I want to have guaranteed phasing. I want to have ailment immunity. And I want to have the onslaught effect, maximum onslaught effect that I can have. So that's passive skill tree. When it comes to the items, we're using very simple setup. We have the Vodos and Queen of the Forest. That's like the bread and butter of builds that use a bow and run really quickly. Then we've got a bow that is on a Marakev base. For example, a Thicket Bow base would be more damage because we would get more attacks per second. However, Marakev gives you that 10% increased movement speed, which is what I care about. As a simple +3 damage, influenced, increased damage over time. This costs like 12, 13x, something like that to buy straight up. Then we've got Quiver, which also has movement speed, so 10% movement speed on the Quiver. And then we've got Torrent's Reclamation. So let's talk a little bit about Torrent's Reclamation. Torrent's Reclamation gives me, here you're gonna see in a second because it has like 2-second cooldown. We've got 10% action speed modifier, right? So as I am running, you're gonna notice my movement speed is actually 425 and also like 10% multiplied by 10%, right? So 425 multiplied by 10%. So Torrent's Reclamation gives you cooldown recovery rate, which helps your phase run to be up quicker. So my phase run is permanent. You're gonna notice here, phase run on the buffs is never gonna expire. When it hits 2 seconds, I'm already refreshing it, right? So it's constantly up. It helps my flame dash as well. It gives me the action speed, and also I'm convinced that this also increases your rogue's action speed if you're next to them with this, right? I think this probably works on rogues. I'm not sure if it does, but there's a good chance it actually does work on the rogue job speed as well, and how quickly they're moving to perform their job. So this is like a best in slot for heisting belt. Then we've got boots. Boots are just maximizing movement speed. So we've got 35% movement speed roll on them. We've got implicit with 7% increased movement speed from, I think, the Searing Exarch, right? And then we've also got the 10% increased movement speed if you haven't been hit recently. And a lot of the time we're not hit recently because we are also picking this note and we're running through the heist and not being hit. We're avoiding all the monsters and just running past them. So we're not getting hit a lot of the time. So this is very, very often active. And then we've got 20% increased cooldown recovery rate of travel skills. So cooldown recovery of travel skills here on the belt and on the passive skills here. We've got even more cooldown recovery of movement skills, and that's helping us keep the phase run up. So let's talk a little bit about the phase run. I'm like all over the place, but I'm like making a tangent out of a tangent because all of these things are interconnected. So let's talk about phase run, because phase run gives me an insane amount of movement speed. If you look over here, this is 77% increased movement speed. How the hell am I permanently sustaining 77% increased movement speed while my Mirage Archer is shooting at things and I'm just running? So we're doing this because of the quality. Quality is being scaled through multiple different things, but if you look at the quality, it grants increased movement speed during the buff effect. So we're getting 20 quality on the gem. You can get 23 quality on the gem. That will give you an additional 1% movement speed. We're linking it with enhanced level 4. That's 20% increased quality. And we're also using Ashes of the Stars for 30% extra quality. So we got extra levels, extra quality, and that together adds up to, what is it, like 74% quality. 74% quality on my phase run, which is absolutely insane. And a quick like little combo X that works with this also is portal, for example. So if I want a map, if I need portal, I have a portal with 231% increased cast speed, which also, like, let me go to like Blood Aqueducts or something and show you how quick this portal is. So my portal is basically instant. Like, I can just pop the portal. Better than a scroll. Much better than a scroll. I don't have to wait. I just instantly pop this portal. So that's because I have huge onslaught effect, which increases my cast speed, plus this quality on it, which increases cast speed. So that's very, very nice. Saves you on portals. And then we've got Anomalous Flame Dash. And Anomalous Flame Dash gives you increased travel distance, and because we're increasing the quality like crazy through the Enhance and the Ashes of the Stars, it actually has 74% increased travel distance, so we're flame dashing ridiculously far. This is how far I'm flame dashing. We can traverse any obstacle if you need to. You can dash across really ridiculous things sometimes that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So the movement skills on this character are amazing. I thought about using a dash, for example, but I'm running so fast that dash slows me down. So the flame dash is only needed if I want to like jump across a gap somewhere or something like that, right? You can see I'm jumping comfortably across all of this. So it's absolutely insane. So that's another place where we're getting our movement speed. There's also a little bit of movement speed coming from the rage. So you can get like a Searing Exarch implicit that gives you 1 rage on hit with attacks, no more than once every like up to, it goes down to like 0.7 seconds or something, but we're not hitting that much because I don't have really any accuracy because we're playing Toxic Rain, which doesn't care about accuracy because we're doing area damage. But because of that, we're getting like extra rage, which usually I get like 5 to 10 rage. It's gonna be like a couple % of extra movement speed. It's free, why not do it, right? When it comes to the rest of the gear, because I already mentioned Queen of the Forest, already mentioned the boots, the bow, the helmet, ashes, quiver, which is just damage over time multis, some life, and the movement speed. Same thing on this, we get like life, res, you can get some spell suppression on it as well. Torrent's Reclamation, and then the rings. So for the rings, you just want non-channeling skills have minus total mana cost, so that you can cast your Toxic Rain for a little bit less mana cost. And also we want intelligence, and we want strength on it, right? So I'll get strength on one, intelligence on the other. This one also has a despair on hit, which is very helpful. You definitely want a ring with despair on hit, and we got some extra chaos res as well on that. And that's basically it when it comes to the gear. When it comes to the gems now, gems are very like simple. We've got the 3 auras: Malevolence, Determination, Grace, with Enlightened 3. We've got the movement ones that I talked about. We've got simple setup with cast when damage taken, increased duration, efficacy, Molten Shell. So because I get like 20k armor while I'm running through the mobs, I still am gonna be using Molten Shell, and it's gonna give me a bunch of extra survivability. We got 3 sockets, why not use that? And then we've got Ballista setup and normal Toxic Rain. So I'm using Phantasmal Toxic Rain. It's only level 20. It gets like 9 extra levels. We're firing 9 extra projectiles because of course the quality gets scaled. You can see here we've got 5 extra arrows because of this 30% extra quality of skills. So Phantasmal Toxic Rain is firing so many projectiles. We got it linked with Divergent Mirage Archer because Divergent one increases skill effect duration, which is great. Then we've got Awakened Void Manipulation. All you need in this bow, because we have +1 to level of socketed gems and +2 to level of socketed support gems, is actually level 2 Awakened Void Manipulation, and that is gonna get boosted to level 5 and give you the +1 to level of supported Chaos skill gems. So if you're shopping for Awakened Void Manipulation, just buy a level 2 instead of buying level 1, and you're immediately gonna get that +1 to your Toxic Rain. Then Awakened Vicious Projectiles, Empower level 4, and Efficacy. You could squeeze in there somewhere, replace something for like Conk Effect or something that would increase the overlap if you want better single target, and your single target will probably like increase by like 40% or something like that. You can do many more overlaps if you change your gems around probably. And then we've got the Ballista setup, which has just regular Toxic Rain, Ballista, anomalous Withering Touch. So the Withering Touch here increases skill effect duration because it's anomalous, so that's how we are applying Wither, by just dumping these 3 totems, and then they just keep hitting the targets and keep applying Wither. And because it has so much increased duration with efficacy and so on, it's gonna stack very nicely. Awakened Vicious Projectiles and Focus Ballista so that it stacks with our attack speed. And that's it when it comes to the gems. Flasks, just life bleed removal, enduring mana poison removal, Roomies, Quicksilver with increased duration and like a T1 increased movement speed. Funny enough, the Quicksilver doesn't really do that much for me. If you look at me running, just normally running, and then I'm gonna pop my Quicksilver, like it doesn't really do that much. It's like 50% extra movement speed or something, which when we have like 500 doesn't do that much. And what else do we have? And we have a Basalt Flask, because we already got Granite Flask and I want to increase my armor for better Molten Shell. We've got this one and it has 50% reduced effect of curses on you. And we're coupling that with this one, 30% reduced effect of curses. So even if you have temp chains on your maps or in your contract, you're going to have like 80% reduced effect of that. You can get this up to, I think, 65. Which means, what, 65 and this is 95, so that means the curses only have like 5% effectiveness on you, which means you're almost immune to curses, which is a very, very nice combo. And then we're using, because I'm gonna be ailment immune, and also I didn't have any problems with ailments while running, I'm gonna use this, which gives you extra movement speed, chance to avoid projectiles, reduce elemental damage taken, and avoid chain, which is a very nice pantheon to have, especially because movement speed, right? We're just stacking movement speed. So an absolutely ridiculous character. It can do maps, it can do bosses, because you can scale the damage to be like 5 million very easily, and then you're like comfortable doing bosses. You're just running around dodging every single mechanic, you're ailment immune, and you have no problems. The only problematic thing would be your mana sustain, so you would have to swap so like you have to get like an extra gem with like Conqueror's Efficiency, or run Clarity instead of something. Or maybe run like, what else could you do? You could run a Flask. No, that wouldn't help. You could pick up these nodes, like you could pick up nodes for like mana charges, so you gain 3 charges every 3 seconds. also pick up this, so like 4 charges every 3 seconds. So you can pick up these nodes for mana flask sustain, and that way you'll be able to sustain mana flask on bosses and have enough damage on bosses. But that's the only thing you'd have to adjust in order to be able to do basically all content in the game. But the main thing is to do heist, right? This character is just meant to do heist. So you're gonna see footage in the beginning probably, and maybe I'll leave you with some extra footage of heisting so that you have an idea of how this build looks like while heisting. I'm gonna show you like an efficient way of doing that. And speaking of that, actually, before I do that, I should show you the gear on the rogues that I recommend so that you can run heist faster. So Gianna is the one that has the best gear for me, and you're gonna be running deception contracts with her. I recommend getting, first thing that you wanna get on her is +1 to level of all jobs for heist. With this item, you can do perception up to level 3, without it, only level 2. You can do counter level 4, without it only level 3. So you can basically do almost all counter thaumaturgy contracts and get reveals for Gianna. Which means you can get them much cheaper and get so many more reveals. And counter thaumaturgy are not so bad. So that's one. +1 to all jobs. This is a very, very important item. Also gives you increased deception speed, right? So job speed on this as well. We've got precise arrowhead. I don't care if this character is using projectile damage or if you're using projectile damage, whatever, that doesn't matter. What matters is the haste. So you want her to have haste and you want her to have job speed on that. So this is important on that, right? So you're gonna move faster, she's gonna move faster. Then you want to have a job speed on that. This goes up to 20%, and then you want to have job speed on that. So we've got 20% job speed as well as increased movement speed while area is not in lockdown, which is most of the time, right? So we're gonna move even faster because of this. So those are the items that I recommend on these characters. You can also, like, if you want to go super extreme, you can get like what's it called? You can get like duplication for currency with job speed and stuff like that. What else can you get? You can get like reduced raising of alert from opening chests with job speed. So there's a lot of stuff you can get, but the job speed and movement speed and haste are the most important things, and +1 on the important characters. I recommend having +1 on Gianna, on Vindiri, because he is super important to take with you, on Karst, on Nanette, which I actually don't have, and on Tulina. Those are the ones that I recommend having +1 on. And that's basically it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the build guide. The build is really, really fun. It's like a different way of playing Toxic Rain that is extremely fast and fun and enjoyable. And the first time I made the character, I was just simply running in circles in my hideout, because that's how fun it is to just control this character. So it's super, super fun. Thank you guys for watching. The POB is gonna be in the description. See you next time. Bye bye.
Chisel. chaos.